Like to call the belated meeting to order. I apologize for being late.
You're excused.
I'll make the motion, we excuse choked out for the meeting.
A motion,
I'll second.
a motion second, all in favor? Okay, so, continuation of the review.
Okay, well, I guess the last time we met, we were potentially using the 2026 revaluation numbers. Given, the motion that was made through Pender County Board, we're now back at the 2025 valuation, same as last year. So that's the budget that you have before you. That is the proposed budget. I did talk with the county manager as early as this morning, and that's the number that they're still using on their side as well. So that's what we're going with.
So the Miller folder you have has nothing to do with right now. So put all those papers back in there. That is the new valuation that we wanted to show you because we didn't know where we were going today.
Right, that's budget
what
number
that
2.
is. But if you'll just take your folder and close it up. It's reading material for later.
That's Plan B.
That's Plan B, that's right. Well, I was gonna say we want to be prepared, but Connie has made sure that we are prepared, in case something gets changed the last minute. So we are looking ahead at that too. So, I think what we're gonna go through today is gonna be, first beach, inlet and sound, fund. We've not presented the BIS, budget yet, so this will be the first time going through it.
Did you put it up on the screen?
And with everything that was sort of, stripped out of it, last year and all, so there's not a whole lot to go over, but, I guess that's probably the best place to start. We don't need to start with that sheet because it goes on the general fund.
Yes, the BIS had no changes.
Okay, so if everybody wants to go ahead and look at the BIS, revenue, we'll start with that. But Connie, take over the show, the Connie show.
Okay, so what you have before you is, the tax rate, same as last year, but 14.5 for the BIS, 14.5 per 100. It will produce $1,053,702.32 when you're ad valorem taxes. And take a look at the sheet here, the revenue, we have our taxes. We have Pender County accommodations tax, our Topsail Beach accommodations tax, the Pender County funds that we will be going tomorrow and presenting our presentation requesting that, which we've already submitted back in February, the actual request by our job form. But tomorrow we will be going to go in front of the mayor will and Mr. Gibson in front of the Pender County Board of Commissioners to request the 180. In the past, just to say, we have tried to go up on this amount, but we had no success, so we have proposed 180 in this. Parking revenue for South End, we have proposed 110,000. The interest earned on the BIS money, we have 30,869.50. The next information that you have is reimbursement from North Topsail Beach Vitex. That's their portion of the money from the grant. And that's where the BIS is fronting the money. The Topsail Beach BIS is fronting the money. This is the money coming back into the BIS from North Topsail and Surf City. So that's what you're seeing, 191,392 and the 167,545.50. They're repaying Topsail Beach BIS for the money that we fronted. The next sheet, you will see the BIS appropriated fund balance. That is the portion that Topsail Beach owes for their part of the Topsail Island Vitex grant. 293,817.89. The total of the BIS revenue, 3,227,327.21.
That's a good question. Why did we this year in fiscal year 26 lower what we showed as revenue from Pender and Topsail accommodation tax below what we were getting prior years.
Because we felt that due to the COVID in the past, last couple of years, that
It
that
was
number was
inflated.
escalated a
Okay.
little bit. So we wanted to be conservative again, that we felt we could collect this, and if we collect more, again, it will go into the BIS fund balance.
Thank
Okay, we'll move right on over to the BIS expenditures. The first place we have is professional service and audit, $829,969. That takes in your lobbyists and TI Coastal Engineering Services and the audit for BIS. So you have, the lobbyist amount is $60,844. Mr. Chris Gibson's, is and TI Coastal is $755,500. And that comes to $829,969. And we did bump up the lobbyists, for about 15%. And Mr. Snyder has given us the information that one of the lobbyists will be going up. So that amount is in there to cover that. There may be a little bit just above that, not much. Then you go down to legal expenses is $6,000. Last year we had that at $5,000. Then you go to staff development. We had that at $6,000 last year. I bumped that up to $10,000 because some of the things we go to are a little bit expensive with the plane tickets and the different things that we're involved in and need to go to. And then we have the maintenance of the South End property at $10,000. Now that is to cover anything down at the South End property, like if you needed gravel or signs or anything like that, maintain that property. Use a subscription, $3,000, same as last year. Intergovernment relations, $5,000, same as last year. Again, you're seeing North Topsail Beach, we're going to be paying $191,392. We're going to be paying $293,817.89 for Topsail Beach. And Surf City's portion, $167,545.50. Reserve for the future beach project is $1,710,602.82. That makes up your BIS budget, $3,327,327.21. Any questions?
How does TI Coastal 755.5 compare to what they've been in prior years? And it doesn't have to be exact. I was thinking they were more like 550.
This is pretty much in line because they have their monitoring. You have your 30-year management permitting, you got your annual monitoring survey, your quarterly surveys, your biological monitoring, your monthly bird monitoring, your program management, construction management, not anything for that this year. Miscellaneous services, sound side, and that's what y'all had said something about maybe doing some stuff there, I think. $135,000, and there's a $74,000 for a post-hurricane survey if needed. So if we don't need that, then that $74,000 would not be spent out of that.
So last year we had a budget of 504.1.
Yeah, for both
Yeah.
audit and,
That's great.
Yeah, that's right.
So we're going up 300,000 on it.
Well, again, your
Lobbyists is
your
going up.
lobbyists are going up. And we did have some money in there last year for another hurricane survey that I think we might have been using that one.
We did.
We did.
Mr. Snyder, are you cool with all this?
Well, I do question the TI Coastal because that seems like a big increase there, but I hadn't seen this number before. And hadn't seen the background numbers to that. So that does seem a little high to me. From 504 up to 829. I came in to speak to the lobbyist fee. And I submitted something to Connie just this morning. And I don't know if y'all want to talk about that or not.
That's okay. Do you want him to speak to you guys about the lobbying? You can set him up here just so you can.
Yeah, let's go ahead and cover that, but also on the, coastal, if he, if he presented a proposal,
Yes, we got numbers from Chris, so.
I think we need to see the proposal. That's a big jump from year to year.
135 is for the sound though.
For the new water management tax committee. We're gonna look for that, see if we can find that. If you want to come up here, you're welcome to for a moment. And we'll kick Chief out for a second. He'll be all
I
right.
didn't
He's staying every
really-
once in a while.
You know, I really didn't know that I would be on the agenda for BIS. But I knew that,
When you speak from the public back
We
there.
don't drink the coast.
Sam, I don't want to take your place over here, you know.
Stand up anyway, you go ahead.
Okay, well, really, I came in to talk about just the, Topsail Island Shoreline Protection Commission part of the budget. And, Connie has been asking me for a month, what's it gonna look like for next year? We have two lobbyists. On a federal level, it's Ward and Smith, but they also subcontract with the Ferguson Group. The other lobbyist we have on the state level is Maynard Nixon, David Farrell. And, David Farrell has told me verbally that they're not expecting a rate increase next year at all. Now, by the way, I did produce this little spreadsheet, and there's a copy here if y'all want to see it. But, again, Maynard Nixon is not increasing or expecting a rate increase. Ward and Smith, however, for Ward and Smith themselves, they're asking for a $300 a month increase. And as Rochelle is handing this out to you, you'll see on line 1, the Ward and Smith retainer fees going from $9,225 per month up to $9,525 per month. You'll also see under that line item, Ward and Smith expenses. I talked to Congressman McIntyre about clarification on that because we have no separate contract with TFG. Those are billed out as expenses that come to Ward and Smith. So, but the TFG part of the equation, they were asking for a $500 a month increase, which is reflected from the 1625 up to the 2125 number. So the change in fees, now, remember, this is island-wide. You only get 1/3 of that, okay? But the change in fees per year would be $3,600 for Ward and Smith and $6,000 for the Ferguson Group. We had some miscellaneous expenses in there of $678. I just put a number of 1,000 on there to cover that. So you're going up, change in fees of $9,922. Right below that, Maynard and Nixon, no increase on any of that, although there was an expense item that of $2,300. That's a registration fee. So that will stay the same for next year. Bottom line on all this is, for your budgeting purposes, we would go up for $3,307.33, which is a 5.47% increase. In discussing this with Congressman McIntyre, they haven't had an increase since 2024. They feel like with inflation, an increase is due. And also he mentioned that we seem to be using their services more than we have in the past. And I would say that that's most particularly focused on North Topsail Beach with their cover mapping issue, and also Surf City with their 50-year plan. I would say that as we move toward our issue, our main issue, which is being able to use federal funds in the inlet for dredging, place on the beach in a beneficial manner, that's our major issue. And there is still some confusion that John and I heard at the federal level about whether or not that decision was reversed in our favor. It was made in this pure fashion because they didn't want to see a whole bunch of pushback. But because of that, there's not a big paper trail on that either. So I think we will probably ask for additional help in that regard in the years upcoming.
If
John,
we
does that
share the
kinda-
payment, are we getting a right of share of value out of them in your view?
In my opinion, it's been maybe a little bit weighted toward North Topsail Beach and Surf City. But in my opinion too, is that upcoming, if we don't get clarification on that FEMA issue, we may have to go a different route in terms of, we'll go back just a second, Wrightsville Beach and Carolina Beach both benefited from the Beach Act. In so much as they were able to use federal dollars in Masonboro Inlet and Carolina Beach Inlet. If we don't get clarification on that federal issue, we may need to get some help on getting our own amendment in the Beach Act. Because that was made on the predication that you were dredging in the inlet for at least 15 years. At the time of the passage of that act, we'd only been doing that for 14 years. Now we're at 16 years. So there is a play, and we may need some help making that play.
And that's covered under what we pay here.
Yes, that's right. Mary, do you have any questions?
No, I just know the, support of it, just the idea of us being able to have a contact in Washington means a lot. We can't get indoors by ourselves.
Yeah.
And so they're the ones that have the first string, and they're the ones that are gonna dictate what FEMA does. That's the other thing, you've got to stay on without learning.
So while we've got William up here, can we talk as a group about this, more about this 829,969 number? I mean, where do we go from here? Can we afford to pay this number? Can we afford to keep moving ahead with this kind of expenditure? I mean, this is a lot of money. I mean, coming out of a budget where we're trying to get enough funds together for our 4 to 5 year project. It just seems like a big, I know it's very complicated and there's a lot of work contained in that big number, but wow, we've gotten to this number. Can we handle it, and where do we go from here?
You on the BIS committee?
Yeah, I am, but I haven't seen a number like this.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm looking at it,
Dang.
it looks like a 20, if you pull out, we've asked TI Coastal to do the sound. So it's not fair to compare apples to apples, but if you pull that out, it takes them down to 620,500. I'm assuming that's still a 23% increase from what I remember last year, and I don't have TI Coastal broken out, but it shows for 504, 100. So if you pull out 135 from the 755.5 for TI Coastal, that puts them around 620. That's still a hefty increase. My opinion, we cannot afford to not have somebody helping us with this. I mean,
Well, obviously.
we set up a 30-year beach plan. We've got a beach that is amazing. There's no one that would say, it's Chris Gibson says, best beach on the eastern seaboard aside from Jupiter, Florida. You got it now. It would be a tragedy to say, okay, now we can't afford it. But do we go out and push back on their rate? Do we shop and see? I don't know that we could find anybody that does any better than they do, but
I don't think we could, but I think we need more understanding of where their costs are coming from. We can't keep going up at this rate.
Are we talking about TI Coastal?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
yeah, Coastal.
So for TI Coastal, we have in their current contract that we're in now, they have a fee schedule broken out in the years. So we pulled that out. We were able, Connie found that. And so if you look, it'll tell you, each year for the 5-year contract. And which we have received the contract renewal from TI Coastal, and it is the exact same way. So, and we can talk about that when we get there, but, course, you'd have to add all the tasks together, the different tasks that they do. That's, broken down into the schedule or to the contract. So that helps us on a, and then of course that goes along with Connie's conversations with Chris Gibson and how, you know, we arrive at what number we need to put in the budget.
And I think if we could next year have the BIS committee go through the fee schedule before we have to have their section in the budget and they sign off and own. We need all of this, because I'm looking at the benthic flora and fauna surveys. Where are they doing those surveys? Is that, the Topsail Preserve,
The biological. what's it
the
say?
monthly bird monitoring?
Bird, well.
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But this is the list that I have from Mr. Gibson. I'll be glad to print this off. This is an email that he sent me. These numbers come right from this contract.
Right,
The 30-year management permitting is $150,000.
Right.
You see right there. Then 74,000 reflects your annual monitoring surveys on the very bottom. And then you got quarterly surveys, again, of the inlets, 138,000, which is on this paper. And then the biological monitoring, that is also 50,500 on this paper. The monitoring, the monthly bird monitoring is $73,000.
but where are we doing that?
And so there's another, again,
I mean, where are the birds that we're actually going to look
it
at?
also talks about in this contract, the scope of services,
Oh,
which we didn't give you that whole.
Okay.
Copy, but it says exactly where what these things are and where they do. them.
Okay,
So
And the
that's
bird
in the scope of
monitoring's been going on ever since
services.
we've been doing beach nourishment. That's part of this 30-year management. That's,
okay.
even when we
It's
didn't
required.
have a 30-year management, we had to do bird monitoring prior to even Mr.
So it's
Gibson being.
required.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
But if the state takes over they are taking over
bird monitoring, that's what
yeah,
I'm
that,
thinking.
so Fish and Wildlife is gonna take over that. Can we exempt that from?
That would be a Mr. Gibson
Yeah.
question.
Commissioner Thomason and Commissioner Best. I have not seen this before,
I haven't either.
and so I would have the same questions
Yeah.
as, why you have, $250,000 increase. I don't know, I think we have to go back and question, exactly where their numbers are coming from, to justify that total increase.
No one's upset with their performance.
Yeah.
But I just can't imagine continuing.
23% increase.
We can't do it. And there's got to be a serious discussion, or we'll find ourselves at $1 million. I mean, just because they say it doesn't make it true. And
Well, again, I will find the email from last year that has all this on one piece of paper. I'll
Right.
get additional information for you. You also have the new contract.
Right.
That's gonna be, and it's gonna have the itemization and everything. And I'm sure Mr. Gibson would be glad to have a meeting or discuss or whatever we need to.
Or just let BIS go to him, BIS being, and talk to him about the scope of what we're having to do. I mean, we've got something we've got to protect. What is it we need to do? But the bird monitoring with the state taking over, the inn, do we need it along the rest of the beach? I don't know.
Well, I would say this, that regardless who owns that south end,
Mhm.
both bird and, flora monitoring is part of your permitting process for your dredging.
Right.
So I would not just say, just because the ownership has changed, that your need for that.
But if Audubon and the state are doing the monitoring, are we paying for something that's redundant?
Well, that's a legitimate question. That's a legitimate question, but the reason why it's been done traditionally is when you go to your permit, you have the
You
data.
gotta say,
Right, it is
Yeah.
required, but I see what you're saying is, remember, that's just a small portion of the entire thing. A lot of this is done in Topsail Sound, which the South End, won't be doing. So,
Right.
we can certainly ask the questions, I think, let them know. think we gotta find out what they're doing
Yeah.
down there as well.
Yeah.
We can't really go and speak intelligently to Chris without knowing exactly what they are doing down
And
there, for
perhaps,
sure.
That's in the MOU, but you haven't gotten it.
perhaps,
Yeah.
Mr. Snyder, we could invite.
Yes, ma'am. I was trying to add some numbers in.
The other Mr. Snyder.
Perhaps we could invite Mr. Chris Gibson to the next BIS meeting and let him have an open discussion.
Yeah, let's do that and then have a recommendation back from the,
Yeah.
y'all-
Or
y'all-
talk to him before the next meeting, because this is kind of time sensitive, isn't it?
Our next BIS meeting is the 14th.
Yeah, so maybe talk to him offline and,
Yeah, just give us some information back.
I would be glad to do that.
Commissioner Bell will help you,
I don't
and
know.
Commissioner Bell.
Yeah, well, I would be glad to talk to Chris and also let him know that we would like clarification in that BIS meeting.
And make sure we're included. Yeah.
Well, oh, yeah, we're all.
Okay.
Great.
We can definitely do that.
And if that's, I mean, when we find out when we're at, where we're at that number, that amount of money would just go into the reserve for future teachers.
Right.
It would
All it
still be
does is
balanced.
shift it
The-
back to
the
them.
Budget would still be balanced. We just, you know, there's no tax rate or anything we have to worry about there. So we would be balanced. We just have to figure out what number we want to put where.
But I think, I'm probably speaking out loud, going forward, I think that BIS should review to Chris's contract and justify, just like Sam and Bo do, why they need that money. Yeah,
Well, we also remember though, once, like right now, we're in a 5-year contract. So, and then it's laid out per year.
Right.
So once we adopt that contract, that is what.
it is what it
Yeah.
is.
And where are we in that time cycle?
We're in this will be year 4, 20, it'll start over again in 28, fiscal year 28, which, we have the new
It's our dredge
proposal.
year, yeah.
We have the new proposal that he's already submitted, but it wouldn't actually be effective until 28.
So we're talking about fiscal year 27, aren't we?
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah, so if we're talking about 28 here on this proposal, where am I getting screwed up on that?
No, this is the new one that he's proposing that we're hoping to put forth at a board meeting here soon, either in May or June. It is about a year ahead. You're correct.
So how does he have escalators in the one he has right now?
That the one that you have in front of you is the current one that we are in right now. That has already been approved.
I guess I'm struggling. I don't see where, I don't understand the going from 504 to 620. We got to pull out the sound, because that's not been in there.
Yeah, so they're back, look back, and back, and back. This is us, but-
If you have an escalator clause, if you have an escalator.
Yes, it's in our current contract.
No.
Well, we'll certainly go back and take a look at those numbers, particularly to TI Coastal's contract. But again, we're already in that contract. So what
Let's
you
make
have
sure
in
we
front of you
don't-
is current.
Nobody agrees to a new one, because
And we'll set up a meeting.
Well, the board has to approve the contract.
Right.
We don't approve the contract, but we also review it and do questions and all that.
But, and I agree, but I think BIS should have ownership and be responsible.
And what we can bring to BIS is the proposed next 5-year contract. What we're in right now currently is what we're in right now. Although we will go back and double check the numbers that we have in the proposed budget to make sure that they do line up with the current contract. And then should we talk to Chris about that?
Christina, is TI Coastal either in writing or are they like a sole source contractor in this area, this category?
No, there are other, coastal
They're
engineers.
back daddies.
We know that.
Yeah, I mean, there's others, yes, I mean, they're not the only one.
Get HDR or something.
Yeah, I mean,
And Moffett and Nickel, is it all?
So we could get estimates. I'm gonna fix the wisest thing to.
And I'm not, I'm just curious.
yeah,
Because when they give us escalations, they give us a new contract. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are in the new proposed contract.
it's in your packet.
Okay. But
The rates provided are 2022 rates and shall increase by 5% at the beginning of each fiscal year. That's in the existing contract right now.
got some homework to do.
So,
And you know what we'll do is we'll make sure, I'll send you a separate email that gives you the current contract that we're in right now, and then the proposed contract, which you do have in your package right now.
because it's funny, task 5, which is construction management, the rate goes up, but then it goes back, it went down in 26, and then it jumps a lot in 27.
Well, remember, you know, that's gonna change, construction management is gonna change too, if there's a project or not project, or, you know. Also, you know, we have been doing some other, we've included this new water management task force, so that's an additional added into their scope of work. So that's part of what the increase is for the proposed budget that you have in front of you today, outside of the original contract. Is it 135,000 that you specifically broke it out? Yeah, so outside of the contract that we're already in, there's an additional for this year proposed budget of 135,000, and that's basically for the water management task force committee that we formed, and for their expertise in that.
They describe the scope of work on that. Seems out of it.
No, it just says miscellaneous services, and it says, including sound side.
So do we need him on that committee, Mr. Snyder?
Well, Jamie's been attending, the meeting.
Are we getting 135,000 of intellectual contribution?
We have not outlined a specific test for TI Coastal. Jamie has attended the meetings, and there has been discussion about whether they would merge data with the Aurora study, but there has not been any activity either requested or implied.
So should we not have a contract or have something, maybe something with an hourly? Because it sounds like we're paying them 135,000 whether we use them or not.
We don't have that understanding. To my understanding, we do not have any implied commitment to TI Coastal.
We have not paid anything to TI Coastal for water management as of today.
Right.
And we don't have an implied commitment either because we don't have a scope defined. And my opinion, Mayor Braxton, you've been at every meeting.
Yeah.
Janie has attended as a gratis, but they have yet.
But we're putting 135,000. Am I not understanding
Yeah,
this?
that's why I questioned.
Budget.
The scope of the work and the cost.
But-
Even with every project that we take on, it's gonna be an individual engineer doing it.
Mhm.
And 135 is what we hope to spend at Rocky Mount.
I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest. We just need to
That's
check.
kind of what I'm saying, but I don't have.
At this stage, from what we've done in preliminary meetings, is we've identified some outfalls that could be helped if we had a reverse control option on them. But we haven't asked for any engineering that say, this is the bulkhead height that we would want, or how they would help us manage that. We haven't requested that.
Yeah, each one's gonna be site specific, so it may not come in the purview of, Coastal. They're not- okay.
To be fair to Chris, I think too, or TI Coastal, you know, we brought them on into this committee with, you know, the whole premise of we've analyzed and analyzed. We need to do some work. And so I think, you know, to be fair, he's probably trying to gauge the scope of work himself and what what will be needed, as far as their participation in the water management projects, whatever's identified. We have
Unless
to
they're
do a
gonna
lot
build
of
on two, in my opinion, we can't afford that.
It may need to look at each project and if their involvement is needed.
Do it on
We get a proposal for them to do that.
well, and I think we'll also, because it does say 135,000, including sound side and stuff. So I think we'll get a better breakdown on what's included in that 135. And according to Chris.
Do we know, Connie, what we paid TI Coastal last year?
We can get,
Okay,
Roughly,
I thought it was like 550,000
or less.
or less.
Or less, yeah.
we'll find out. I know for sure.
I'm speaking off of my memory, and Connie got the numbers, but typically, when I was looking at BIS budget, it's always been 450, 500,000 in that line item.
Well, the good news is, Mr. Snyder, the less you spend, the more you get for your next dredge project. So I encourage you to be frugal.
It's our dredge project, y'all. And I'm not trying to be flippant about that, but it's.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
We need to take it.
I think we appreciate his work. It's great work.
absolutely.
Question the cost, that's all.
Yes.
Well, so the thing I was prepared to talk about was the consulting services, and that amounts to just a minimus increase, which is $3,200 here. So I was open, and I wonder if y'all want any more formalized report, or how do we, Commissioner Gus and I, report out on what we did do in Washington and what we propose to do in Raleigh on May the 12th.
I think just your updated regular meeting.
But that will be, you will have had your meeting on the 12th.
Yes.
We have a meeting.
Yeah, and the board meeting is the 13th. Is it anything we need to know before then?
No, just, at our meeting in Washington DC, I think it was successful. We had a seat at the table in a couple, Congressman Rouser and Dr. Murphy and, Senator Bud's office, but not him directly. And then John and I were at the, Department of Interior talking directly to the director for U.S. and Fish and Wildlife Service. We had the opportunity to thank him for the grants that they provided to help fire the south end. That was a pretty big milestone there, I think. And I would have to say that the agenda that was prepared by Warden Smith and facilitated by TFG, that's.
She multi-sides here.
On the
We wear
state,
meeting hats.
state level, I will say that we're getting some real traction on a temporary moratorium on oyster leases. Representative Carson Smith is facilitating, Jimmy Dixon up in Dublin County is supportive of it. So I think that's one thing we're put loud and clear, that there's sentiment about having a temporary moratorium. All I have for you guys, unless you have some questions.
I had 3 takeaways from our trip as a newbie or whatever. Number one, I was very impressed and even surprised with our lobbying contingency. Very professional, prepared, mastery of the issues, very strong relationships with the people on Capitol Hill that they need to have them with. So I hadn't seen that in action before. Number 2,
You were talking there about the people you went to see up there, not the teams you took up there.
no, the team we took, our Warden Smith and TFG.
Well, that's right there.
Yes, sir.
Warden Smith.
Yes, I was very impressed.
Who went from TFG?
Ann Duran.
They also had Brian Swittenberg from a longtime employee of Army Corps of Engineers, and I forget the other person's name, but they were both long-term employees of the Corps, so they were particularly helpful in the meetings with the office management and budget, and also the meeting with the Army, Corps of Engineers. Because they knew the people and they helped Surf City a lot on that 50-year project.
Right?
You didn't get kicked out of the Army Corps office this time.
No, that particular meeting was held virtually, and John and I didn't get to go attend that meeting because we were at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife. But we probably almost got kicked out of there.
Mr. Snyder and Mr. Mayor, could we ask the BIS committee to look and see, do we need quarterly surveys? Or could we scale back on those and do twice a year? What's the risk reward? It's just, to me, we need to look at every component of this every year and say, yes, we still need that. This makes sense. No, we don't.
I think that's gonna be with the, approved plan, 30-year plan. I don't know if you can deviate from that, without going back and have it modified.
So they require the 3 times a year survey.
As far as I know, if there's a difference, we need to know.
Well, what I would say is the quarterly sound survey is very important to our voters, both commercial and recreational. And we post that survey every quarter. And where that inlet is traveling, pretty important to commercial and recreational people. In fact, Commissioner Best asked me, he said, well, what's the best way at the inlet? I said, look on the website. It's right there. And moved enough that we have to be able, I'm just speaking on behalf of that particular part. Now, the bird surveys, I thought they were semi-annual rather than. We had the most recent one, the one for 2025 that's just been posted on the website. It's out there.
So the government's making us do a monthly bird survey because of the tragedy.
I'm thinking it's semi-annual. I don't think it's monthly.
We'll figure it
Yeah,
out. We'll figure it out.
but they're also doing it too for the government. So we're doing to give the government to make them happy what they're already doing themselves.
I
So
don't know that Audubon or the government is doing those surveys. I don't know.
I think Audubon.
That's a full hour.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, I'm sorry to take up so much of your time.
Number 2.
Number 2, thank you, John. Meetings that included our issue, meetings that included Surf City's big project, the biggest on the East Coast, $200 million worth, 18 years in the process of trying to get it done. Wow. And then another meeting, Fish and Wildlife, which was North Topsail's covered designation, improper covered designation, which dates all the way back to 1982. What I took from that is, thank God we are in South Topsail Beach. We have a much better position than our neighbors. And that was comforting to hear and see, with my own eyes and ears. So I wanted to report that. When you get up there and you get caught up in all the bureaucracy and everything else going on, the punchline is, wow, we're in a great position because of everybody in this room, because of TI Coastal, because of all the hard work put in to protect our town and our beaches and all that. So happy to report that. And the third thing, which we witnessed very simply, was that David Rouser is not only willing to listen and to help Topsail Beach and Surf City, which are in his district, but he's also very willing to stick his neck out for North Topsail Beach and help them, even though they are not in his district. So those were sort of the 3 things that
and
I
they
took
will
away.
appreciate it.
Well, let's hope they do, but
Let's talk about North Topsail. That's the cover mapping issue.
yes.
At some point, and I don't know when we do it or where, is since Surf City has dredged Banks Channel, everyone I've talked to, particularly south of the marine, north of the marina, it has impacted shoaling under all of the docks. Everybody from probably the marina all the way down that I've talked to the end of the bridges. Your lift's useless at a normal low tide. Used to be uber low tide, it's useless, that's life, but now regular low tide, you can't get it off. And the dredging is the only thing I can think of that would cause that. And there's nothing we can do, I don't think, but beware if we can protect that going forward.
That's probably the only thing you do is do a water curtain, keep the sand from moving over.
But,
That's hard. You know,
Yeah.
the added expense.
yeah, but they did it and impacted us. I'm still mad about taking down the buoys to the markers.
Mayor, I guess the fourth thing, that I bring back from DC is I don't know how our town would represent our interests without Mr. Snyder. That's a total mastery of the issues, thankfully. So
Nice to have McIntyre there too.
it is.
He can get through doors that we couldn't.
Get out of jail free card, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times, John, you witness this, he'd just show his congressional lapel label and then we go right around security. Very nice.
And I would reiterate what John said, we're a small town, we're a small voice, but I think thanks to Mr. Snyder and BIS committee, our voice is much louder than our geographic force. And that's huge because you don't ask, you don't get.
Hey, when you got your marching orders, I
Yeah.
know it's an advisory board. We're asking you to go a little bit further.
And
Would that
going,
mind?
and, oh, yeah, well, I mean, you know, Chris and I have a good dialogue, a good working relationship, and I don't mind at all working with Connie and Christine, and we'll get those answers.
The amount that was paid out last year for 24-25 was $397,704 to TI Coastal.
So this year without the task force 135, that would imply at 620,000. So there's something, again, the money stays in that bucket, so it's not like, but it just doesn't make sense. But y'all figure it out.
We'll get some,
Yeah.
get some answers.
Connie and I have always worked real well together, so we'll be continuing to do that on.
Yeah, I've only hit him a couple of times.
She's got a long leg, because she's been kicking me under the table over here.
That was me.
You might want to walk and don't crank your car.
Any other questions, guys?
That was good. Very good.
Thanks, William.
Thank you, Wayne. We appreciate you. All right.
I had a quick question, budget, this TISBC budget proposal, is that in 25,700,400 line, or does it have its own line?
That's the lobbyist.
Yeah, but
Where is the 63,000?
Professional services and,
Um,
yeah, that's considered the lobbyist. And, let's see. Are you the right account number?
I just didn't see it in another.
2,500, 700, 400. If you look at the side, it says professional service and audit.
Yes,
Right underneath that, it says TI Coastal and lobbyist.
okay, so it is in that line.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
829,969.
Thank you.
And it also will have, you know, the audits included there also.
And the only other thing I was gonna say, and we're close, it may not matter, is I think for the season last year at the South End parking lot, we made about 100,000. Is we raised the rate down there 16%. So whatever we made last year, I would feel very comfortable boosting up slightly because I also don't know that we were enforcing paid parking at 6 a.m. last year. So we've got bigger rate and longer hours.
And that's fine. If
Yeah.
that's what you want to do, it's just gonna, again, if we make more, it'll just go into the fund balance. But if you want to show it more, you know, increase more,
Yeah.
you can do that. Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
I'm gonna hold the same.
What would you like to
Yeah,
say?
let's test and see how it's gonna go. Some people may be kicking back. They're not going down there early in the morning, staying late. It may not show a big difference.
So do you want to leave it or change it?
It would show just an increase in revenue. It would stay,
Correct.
it would stay in the.
Exactly. What, if we made more than what we put here?
But it
it's gonna
impacts
go-
when you're projecting this fee. What do we need to give them to fund going forward?
Yeah, but without a year's estimate.
All right, fair enough.
Jason, no, we don't have to.
Okay, we'll leave that then. Any other questions on? We got some work to do for Pacific with the TI coastal portion, but, everything else looks good.
Okay, so we'll move to the CIP fund, 24 fund. And the CIP fund, the tax rate is 2 cents. So that's 145,338.25 is the revenue for the ad valorem tax there. And then we have the fund balance, which is really just a placeholder, if you will, but 4,661.75. And then we're showing 600,000 there for loan proceeds. And that would be for the public safety building, which we're unclear of right now, but we proposing we may have to take the 600,000 out of the CIP fund, either a loan or the fund balance, if we are able to do that ourselves funding. So that makes up that, and the 90,000 is a transfer from general fund, and that's for the water management that we talked about at the last meeting. That makes up $840,000. Flip over to the expenses. And you have public safety building, 600,000. Replace fire hydrants, 150,000. And then water management, 90,000. And that makes the offset of for the water management. And the total of the budget for that right now is $840,000.
Just for clarity, the town hall renovations was in this year's budget.
And that money's already set aside, correct?
We don't have a quote on it yet.
We do, we actually met again this morning, so it's sort of, there's some portions of it, we have the roof, which is a separate quote from some of the other internal work that needs to be done here, and the window replacement, so, we're gathering all that now, but we do have some quotes, and we're trying to actually get the schedule done, but, with as many meetings as we have, it's very difficult because we will be somewhat displaced and staff will have to be, down in one room, and it's just a lot of juggling, scheduling and logistics wise, but we're hoping to get, majority of it spent this year, but what we don't actually spend this year that may need to follow into July, we'll have that covered in the July budget.
Any questions?
Okay, the next page should be just showing you the offsets of all three services for taxes and our current rate from last year where we were at there with tax rates. So as we review the general fund, we are proposing a 2% increase in the general fund tax ad valorem.
2% or 2 cents?
2 cents, I'm sorry, 2 cents. And in the BIS stays at 14.5, and the CIP is at 2. And for taxes, we should be able to receive $3,633,456.28, and that's in all three funds. And just underneath it, you'll see where we're at today, 25 taxes. Above would be your 26 taxes.
So I have a question. Last year, the collection rate was projected to be at 98.5, and it's historically been around 99. Why is it being lowered to 95?
Because with what's going on with taxes right now, I will not put it at 98%.
But you know,
Would you think about
We
it?
did last year because that's what our previous management wanted to do and the board agreed upon, and trying to get everything balanced out, but
Sure.
I think this is conservative. We may not have, problems collecting, but I would just feel better if we left it here. If we earn the money and get it up to 98%, that would be great. And it would go into fund balance for general fund.
I guess I thought the original, I remember a conversation with the reevaluation that might be a reason to lower the collection rate, so.
Well, our financial advisor also said that, even with a new valve, that we should probably stay kind of where we're at.
Okay.
There was some conversation, but, I feel comfortable with that 95%. If y'all want to bump it up at 98, of course, we certainly will do that. As we go through the budget, you know, we can, want to revisit that, we can also, but.
Thank you.
My guess is this year, if you appeal, you end up paying what you would owe at the whole valuation, correct?
I think this year, are you talking about for the September bills?
Yeah, what impacting collection, if you appeal and it was under the new evaluation, you would pay the old, so I'd see that impacting it, but I wouldn't think appeals would have anything to do with collections this year. Would they?
They can. They're using different rates.
Yeah.
They not set the lower
Not
rate.
necessarily. I think, you know, just a little gun shy with nobody knows what's going on with the taxes. And I guess that's where, you know, when we were advised to stay at 95%, just to be on the conservative side.
If Connie,
That's what
Miss
it
Connie
is.
only collected 95%, she would shoot herself.
But it's, you know, we're here for direction from the board, so.
My understanding from, the Surf City councilman that I talked to, if the new rates were to go into play, they were expecting, it's just general knowledge, a 10% would be appealed, 10% would be, of the 10% that are appealed, 10% would be accepted, and it would adjust it by 10%. So it's really like 0.1% expectation of change from what they have on the books to what would be, what people would pay in the end. So it's not a huge number with a normal reevaluation. I'm not sure this year is normal, so. But that's kind of what Surf City was
But I
told by
wouldn't
the
take it
county.
I wouldn't take it from one of the commissioners. I'd want to hear it directly from Colby Sawyer.
Understood.
Again, that's why we're here, for you guys to direct staff.
Okay, we'll move to.
What would that change? What will it change? I was trying to do the math if we bumped it. Couple 100,000 if we bumped it to the historical 98%.
Well, she wants to know what changed.
No, yeah, I think I know that's. So it's, if it was at 98%, does that offset the 2-cent increase? It would, wouldn't
No,
Not
completely.
it? Okay.
And we'll,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, so go to the next page, you see this, should say budget workshop, April 29th. This budget includes general fund changes. So this sheet that you're looking at will hopefully inform you of what was done for the last time we seated with the general fund budget, which was at the new value. So in the revenue, the tax ad valorem under page 1 of 5, you have an increase of 2 cents, which we just talked about. We requested $3,021,686. That was a new value. So going back to the old value, the 764 million, we are decreasing that revenue by 587,727.21. So right now that brings your ad valorem taxes for general fund a collection of 2,433,959.71. Go down to the 10,399 fund balance, and that is page 5 of 5. we've actually increased that fund balance because we had the 431,973 that we had from last year that we have to pay. Plus, we had, said we were going to give CIP $90,000 for water management. And so that brings the fund balance to 521,793. Then we go a little further in 357, the building permits, page 2 of 5. We requested 55 last time. We've increased that by 10,000. And now that's going to be 65,000 should be the collection for building permits. We go right on down, which we talked about this last time. We had gotten the bill from not Computer Warriors, but Harris Computer, that one of our modules was going to be increasing. So we've increased page 5 of 25, 10420, 4601 is computer software maintenance. That went from 134,000 to 8,000 to 142 will be now the amount that's in that place in the line item. Then the next things are basically the things we talked about last time also. The 10,450, 1,400 in staff development with your planner and building inspector. And we increased that from 5,000 plus or to 2,000, and that makes that 7,000. And it has your page number beside that. The building consultant was put in at 15,000. Then you have your 10,600, 0200, and that addresses the changes that we did with the public works people and everything, the classification. So we had taken out the one of the positions that decreased that by 55,125, bringing that to 313,000. And then you just go right on down. FICA was decreased by 4,000, making that 27 from 31. Your group insurance was at 75,000. We decreased that by 14,210, making that 60,790. Your retirement was at 58. We decreased that by 8,751, making that 49,249. And then your 401k was at 20. We decreased that by 2,890, making that 17,110. And then we come down and this is our rollout specialist, the part-time and permanent full-time, seasonal, I'm sorry. But that is the page 18 of 25 under your solid waste. We took increased 16,463.52 for salaries. And then also the FICA was 6,180. And the seasonal, 6,180 was your seasonal specialist, and 1732 represented the FICA. So that brought that to 16,463.52, the salary, the seasonal and the part-time. This was about 27,000, which we talked about that at the last meeting. That's the way we wanted to proceed with that.
Do we have, Ms. Connie, do we have the increase for the mechanic in here?
Yes, that falls up under where the work with your salary under the, it takes in play the salary under the 600, no public works.
Okay, so it's just netted out.
Yes.
Thank you.
The $7,000 is in there, but because we took out that other position, that, it kind of balanced that out, but it is in there. So you have a specialist in there, you have the classification of the 7,000, you have the 2 rollback people and a fireman. It's all included in this budget. So we switch right on over and, I guess this, I don't know if you want me to repeat all these again, or if you want to look at it and see if you have a question in the revenues.
I do have a question on the tower lease.
Okay.
We show actual for 24-25 was 114. We lowered it in 85 to 85 last year. Don't we have the same tenants on there and repetitive payments or not?
We do, but 100,000 should, you know, possibly should have been that way last year.
Oh, okay.
So the total right now, based upon what we just talked about, is
This-
6,016,377.60 for the general fund revenue.
I'll explain to you later.
Okay.
If I have any questions on those? If not, we're going to go to the expenditures, and if there's any specific questions on any of those, or you want me to go through it, or?
Question on line items or? Good, good. The bulk of our increases are associated with employment.
Yes, sir, and of course, and given the $9,000 to CIP for the water management as part of that. Because that has to come out of the general fund and go into, you know, it has to transfer out into the other fund. And we had the 100,000 in that we didn't have last year for the streets also.
So I have one question, and that's item 10,399 of 500.
Yes.
The transfer from capital reserve, refresh me, what was that for?
That's your equipment. That's your equipment.
So that was
That's your people.
what I call the
requested
Christmas
support.
list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 727,271, I think it is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're taking out. It's like 200,000, something like that for the playground equipment and. the
That's
seasonal
what
and some
boosted,
other-
okay.
and
Thank you.
Christmas.
Here we go.
We also, out of the capital, reserve that we had, we reduced that by the 4,148 because that was for the other turnout gear for the additional firemen that we do not have. So that was subtracted back out of that capital reserve.
So the mayor doesn't get any special projects for next year?
Not right now.
You okay with that?
Get the building.
With that nice roof?
I have a question about, the addition of the firefighter, how it would impact both overtime costs as well as housing costs.
So the housing costs hopefully will go away.
Well, not for a year.
But we've already got the place rented.
Okay.
Another
so-
body
so the
doesn't make a
housing
difference.
cost will, it-
He doesn't
It
get
will
his
be
own
at this-
no
apartment.
extra housing for the one extra person.
No, sir.
Okay. But it potentially would lower the overtime costs.
That depends. That would depend on if who's on vacation or that kind of thing. I'll let Mr. Bowe address that.
It will reduce some of the, they won't reduce it all because we still are one short.
Right.
And, so it will reduce, it should reduce some of it, some of the overtime.
Yeah, what I understood, I think we spoke about this, was on the shift when there's two, which there are three shifts, one has three, two have two each.
That's correct.
When on the shifts, so 2/3 of the shifts, somebody's out for vacation or sick, that's when the overtime comes in.
That's
By
correct.
adding another firefighter, you'll only have one of the 3 shifts where there's 2. So in theory,
Some of it
overtime would
come
be
off.
cut in about half. I mean, not exactly, but it could be a significant reduction. in
It could be, as,
Or it should
as,
be.
as long as we can fill it and keep it filled. See, that affects us too. Every time one goes out, then it takes months to fill it and get it back in. So
You know,
But it-
in terms of employment.
employment, yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mr. Russell, when they get that new building, they are. They're
I hope not.
that big old stove, those white backsplashes, they would never leave.
I hope they're here to stay.
Curtain colors.
They have blinds,
Oh, okay.
Equal.
just,
Rose.
just the chief's office.
Sam picked it out. You'll never live that down.
Yeah, I'll show anybody my.
That would be the greatest thing to do as you go out
Tasteful
is,
color.
is spec a pink wall for your office.
Any questions?
Okay, well, we're up to the expenditures unless, I mean, y'all have any questions on anything specific or anything you specifically want to go over in the expenditure?
So the expenditures in capital reserve come out of the general fund expenditures, but there's money coming in on the revenue side to cover it. So in other words, like the playground equipment is in this expenditure line.
The capital reserve money, the 727,000 is already in the bank.
Right.
You are taking that, giving that to general fund, if you will, transferring it to general fund to cover that. So there's no revenue coming in.
Right.
Per se, it's already there.
Well, yeah, I found it. It's a 10,700,7402 is for the playground equipment in the general fund expenditure.
Yes, sir.
And so-
Your capital outlay equipment would be in each individual departments, like the police department's car would be in their car, the capital outlay. Same thing with fire department, and then we put the 200,000 for the playground equipment in the beach management tourism department.
And same thing with the tool cat and the equipment.
Yes, sir,
the
that would be in public
firefighter
works.
equipment.
It's helpful. The CIP money is in the bank. Isn't it? That's it.
Okay, well, that's the general fund, and as far, unless somebody else has anything with that, the public safety building, we have not, put anything together yet. Of course, that'll be kind of, should be very simplified. Once we get the final numbers, then we can put together the revenue side, which would be your fund balance from your public safety fund, and then the expense would be the building.
That'll be pretty straightforward.
But we didn't want to put a number out there because we don't have that just yet.
But we're close.
I had a question about that because I wasn't on the board a year ago. The money from the grant, for lack of a better word, plus the interest, we're projecting that to be around how much total?
We're hoping that'll be like, 178, 190, something like that.
Oh, it's about the whole amount,
Well,
the 8
Oh,
million.
with the 8 million.
well, so far we've collected 700,000 revenue
Okay,
on the money.
right.
But like for April, May and June, we hope we collect another 26 each month, and that'll be like, what, 76? And then we are going to continue to collect the interest on the money as far as we can go. Because
Right.
we're gonna start having bills now.
Sure.
So we won't be earning as much, but we're not gonna pull the whole money out and transfer it into general fund. Right now, any bills that are being paid previously up to Friday
Right.
have come out of the general fund.
Right.
And we will be transferring that money from the public safety building fund back to general fund. It's money back.
Gotcha.
But we use that so we could earn interest on that money. We funded it from general fund so we could earn interest on the money.
And we'll keep earning interest on that during construction, even though the balance will go down.
Sure.
So the amount of interest right now is running about 26,000.
Right.
It will go down as
Sure.
we deplete that.
So maybe this is a different way to ask the same question, or at least get me to the answer that I'm looking for. The previous board voted for a building at 9.6 million. Assume it's 9.6 million. The money, the 8 million plus interest will not be 9.6. Is that correct?
Remember, if you don't mind, I'll answer that for him,
Yeah.
is last year to get to the 9.6, based on what was predicted for interest, we're gonna come up short roughly 438,000, which was approved as that we would borrow that alone. But we didn't need to borrow that, but it's been set aside. So you take your 8 million special allocation, the interest, and then you got that 438. We knew last July that wasn't gonna be quite enough to get us to the 9.6. We're gonna come up about 238,000 short.
Gotcha.
But we also knew that Ms. Connie had a way to find that amount of money because it's not a huge amount.
Sure.
And that's still where we are.
Okay.
So does that answer
Yeah.
we could have gotten a loan, but we had the money, so we didn't. We knew then we would need another 240. And we will probably, am I right, have that. Now, if the building went to 9.9 million, we're gonna have to scramble because we
Sure.
don't have it.
But assuming it's 9.6.
Yeah.
We're not looking at any loan.
Well, I mean,
Hey.
depends on where,
Ms. Connie?
which way you guys want
If
to
the
go.
building's 9.6.
We
That's
could possibly looking for at a loan. It's gonna depend where we're at
in
and
terms of.
And what you want
how you
to
want
put
to
out
handle
front
it.
cash
Yeah.
and what you want to do long-term loan.
Yeah.
It's really going to be a board decision at that point. There's going to be
It sounds
some
like it's
supplement.
possible.
There are plenty of ways to
Yeah.
skin the cat. It will depend on, am I right, how the year shakes down and what you think you have to
What
work
we
with.
have to on balance.
We're certainly not looking at a large loan
No.
unless we,
It's a brick and mortar and it's better to have the time to do that over a period of time. Than, because it's gonna last us 6 years. You want to take the time to pay for it. That's not a pocket.
If, assuming, I'm just curious, we didn't get a loan and 2 years from now, we had a need for money, could we go put a mortgage on that property after it's built? Does anything in the allocation doesn't have any strings, does it?
No.
The first time that I know of in history, we'll have the building nice enough. You could get a mortgage if you had a financial emergency. But it's a nice emergency backup.
Maybe the league would have a comment about that.
I think they probably have a big comment about it.
Could they?
Yeah, I don't know.
But we don't have a need for it whatsoever.
Not a reason why you wouldn't mortgage.
Yeah, well, why would you get a mortgage if you don't need one?
Well, I'm saying, if you need the money.
Yeah, if you need
You
the
could
money, yeah.
mortgage the EFC. So,
Bottom line is we don't have a lot of debt as a town, and that is a good thing.
Yeah.
But we've got decent assets now that could create value if we ever were up against them. And that's huge.
yes, that was, thank you.
We're at the 2:30, sorry.
Yep.
Take a break.
Sure, that's a good idea.
Have a-
10 minutes break.
Thank you.
Putting out the fire. Trust Bo to have extra water somewhere.
Okay, after the various discussion, and I think all of it, I'm going to collect 98%. In seriousness,
I think
the
that's the way it should be.
98% would be 76,877 that we would have additionally, which we could, if that's the board's desire, make the tax increase 1 penny, which would be 31.50. And we wouldn't have to do anything. I mean, that wouldn't affect expenditures or anything. That would just increase the revenue on the tax side and would balance the budget. But that's up to the board entirely.
So if we thought we were gonna get an extra 75,000 in parking revenue, what would that do?
Nothing.
What about hire another parking attendant and get another 75,000 in citations? That'd be neat.
What about we leave?
You're making her head spin.
Whatever pleasure.
That's why we're here. This is what a workshop is.
Is what we have in front of us balanced at a 98% collection rate?
It's balanced right now at 95%
With a 2 cent
with a 2
proposed.
cent proposed.
But at 98%, can you make this a balanced budget?
If we make it 98% tax collection, that would give you another additional 76,877.
So the question is, are we willing to take a risk on not getting that $70-some thousand?
I am.
Well, historically, it's been 99, so.
And I guess here's where I am, is we had a big tax increase last year and 98% of it went to BIS to get that dang can out of the middle of the street. And it was the right thing to do. But it was a hard thing for our residents. If we can find a way to avoid a tax increase this year, I think it's important. And I think it's important psychologically to the residents. And I think it's important to the board's credibility. But I would never want to do that and put our financial stability at risk. But I'm a risk taker.
What's the risk of no tax increase?
No tax increase? We
Yeah.
have to go back to the drawing board. I think the 1 penny is possible with the using the 98% collection rate, but we have to then, if we wanted to look for that other penny, we'd have to make some cuts.
You're talking about cutting 77,000.
77,000.
That would be my vote.
But let's see if we can do it without hurting ourselves.
I had brought up a couple of items on the capital reserve fund from the fire department.
That's not gonna make any difference for your tax rate.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
That's CIP.
Well,
Well,
it does for future years, but it doesn't for this year.
It doesn't help for this.
True.
If you see something else in revenue that you want to.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
$75,000 up to, then
total.
Can you give us some hints of what might work? Part of it, I think, parking revenue, what the ocean access parking revenue goes in the general fund and we collected, was it 124,000 last year?
Total for that one.
just remember they. Formed it together.
Yeah, okay,
But we have that month by month where we're
Yeah.
segregating.
we do.
And I don't have it with me, but I think that number was right. But it's 120. That would be somewhere I would be confident, but net at 130. If indeed it was 120.
There's a few thousand, but the wireless application went down. But I don't know that we collected anything this year.
What was that? I'm sorry, missed that. Oh,
Is that the one, the tower, 85,000 versus 100?
No, he's talking about.
That was, the wireless out, the 1033330000, but it shows 0 for this year, so I don't.
No one we don't have in there, I don't think, Miss Connie. Do we have a line item for parking citations? Oh, do we? Shoot.
What about the vehicle tax? It looks like last year it was 12,000 over budget and the budget didn't go up, and it looks like it's gonna exceed budget this year by some amount. Won't be a penny. The 10,302,000.
Local sales tax looks like it ought to be a possibility. We've been as high as $240,000 on that a couple of years ago. We're gonna go over 200,000 this year against a request of 109,000.
That and 130,000 for ocean access parking.
This ocean access.
Yeah. And I'm almost positive it was 124 last year.
If it's anything like last weekend, all the spaces.
It was packed. Plus we've got, well, I won't go online this year, so. Can't remember, I think it was 30-some thousand we got in citations.
Some of the citation money may be included in the parking revenue though, if it's from auto, right?
Yeah, well, we try to break, they
It
break
was
it out.
broken out.
Okay.
Mhm.
It was broken out.
Yeah.
Citations,
Civil citation and parking enforcement.
yeah,
And then we break out the south end and the.
and then South End.
Yeah.
Where's the citation revenue in general fund?
Yes.
And 361.
Civil citation, is that what we're looking at?
The parking enforcement and civil citation.
For parking enforcement? And the 360 and 361. Is that what we're looking at?
Mhm. Now, that civil citation, is that, is that?
Civil citation is the police.
Yeah, that's the police and not auto.
No, the parking
Parking
enforcement
enforcement is what auto is.
Okay, so I think then put the parking citation, what we made last year, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Add a line for parking.
We do have parking enforcement, that's
That's
10,
right.
361.
Is that the same? I thought, so that's not Sam, that's,
That's,
Same as civil citation.
Sam is right above it.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So the 361,
Yes,
that's auto, if you will.
Yeah.
And then the
Okay.
360 is the PD.
so what did we get last year in the season? That's the hard part, the season
Right.
straddles the year.
Yeah.
They increased to 15,000 from
You can run
3,000.
Right, on auto.
budget.
Keep in mind, we're writing the majority of our tickets on auto software, so it's gonna show up in their line item and not ours. So,
But it is, but they're both there.
But I don't have, I've got it on my computer at home, but the number for last year,
Well, the action for parking enforcement,
yeah,
it's 12,270.
that's all it was.
Yeah.
Even from the
Well, no, I'm
auto.
sorry, I'm sorry, 2556. Yeah, that's what we collected.
I was looking for the season. Because the difference is last
that would be
year,
what actually
we
was
didn't
right.
really have oceanfront
That would
access.
be 5799.
Right.
That's what we collected last year. 5799 is
That
what we
was
collected
before we got
last year.
tape parking.
But we didn't have oceanfront,
Right.
yeah.
So it's
But remember those
Actually,
monthly
right now-
reports?
so far, yeah. Monthly report.
That's what I'm looking at, the 12-month monthly report.
Okay. Okay, we can look at that
Yeah,
for how much we made for parking enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on ocean access,
Does the ocean access have to stay with the, ocean access?
It stays in general fund.
Yeah.
And then South End revenue is a BIS.
but I think ocean access was more like 124,000 last year. I'd make it
130.
130.
Okay. And we can look at the parking enforcement, see.
It's just kind of hard because you're looking at the audit
Yeah.
and we don't have the history because it's grouped together.
Right.
The sales tax refund looks like it's tripled the budget. And 367. I don't even know what that is, but
That will be it.
it's budgeted at 30,000, we've received 91,000.
That's because we didn't get the money last year, we got the money this year, so you're looking at 2 years.
That would be a good reason.
Now, you know, stay out of that pot.
Had to ask.
What about 10,345? Could we go up to like 220 or 225,000 there instead of 190? Local sales tax?
I mean, I'd be okay with us going up to maybe 210, but not. And that varies, I mean, it depends on what's sold and what, because that comes down from the state, so.
Go to 210.
Okay.
And feel free, at the end of the year, if you don't hit it, to say, well, y'all made me do it.
Now, is that,
All right, so
is that
we got
from like
8,000.
commercial sales? Like, is that what that local sales tax is, tax use? Like if I bought something in Godwin's or,
It's distributed, yeah.
yeah, I would hope that that number will go up nicely because instead of a post office, we will have another revenue generator. Keep saying. Well, no, it's not just ice cream. It'll be, there's a bar going in
Oh, good.
that wasn't there. So it might actually be a nice bump in sales tax.
How close we get?
We're close enough.
We got about half. of
I
what
think, no, I think we're there, but this is not something that we should have them do on the fly. Yeah, let them come up prepared on it.
Yeah, because we did start in March, that's correct.
Um,
So that plus,
So we got a penny of it with collections, and with parking and
so that's
citations
just
and
what
what
we
John
did
just said.
last year.
Sales tax, we're at 70,000, so we're there.
And then, so from July to
Spent 10,000 the last 2 years, and still the budget. I mean, it's 1,000.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay.
$5,000 is in here, let them do their business, yeah.
April, May, June last year. Parking revenue, this is the next year. For the 3 months. Well, that's good. 69, 902.
I think about 64.
So we can-
27, you said we're bumping it up 100.
Mhm. Plus 20, okay. Yeah, that's right. No.
That's 30.
That's 30, yeah. 20, no, that's 20 plus 20, 40. And you got the 20 on, 345 on the 50. Then 345,
I had plus 10.
plus 20, 210. So I thought we were going to 210. That's plus 20 there. That's plus 20
Plus
on
20
parking
parks and
revenue.
rec.
Mhm.
Parking rec.
Mhm.
That's 40.
All right, so we're at 40.
What about,
ABC reimbursement.
so we increased parking tickets the auto tickets, oceanfront parking, and what,
30.
what was the other thing John said that you increased
Yeah,
sales and use?
10,345 for upping that by 20.
So 20 there, 20 on oceanfront parking.
Revenue, yeah.
I'm saying, I think there's 15 in parking enforcement, but I wouldn't,
We're gonna. put a
We need to
question mark
verify
there.
that.
Okay.
so that would take us,
What additional?
12,000. 12,000 last year.
What now?
in the season or just,
That's
July of. Sorry, this year is 12,000. Let me go to last year.
Yeah, this year so far is 12,270.
but this year is above
Right.
last year so far month by a significant amount.
When did we start
Last
adding?
year, 2024 was $6,000 for
Yeah.
the collection.
No, I mean like here, because they weren't doing parking enforcement until the last, this will be their second year?
This will be the third year.
Third year,
They did do it this year.
yeah. That's why you see the 6,000.
This is the third year of our, third, fourth year of our relationship with them, but I think they'll be parking.
This is their second for parking enforcement, that's why.
That's gonna-
That's why it was only 6,000 in 24, 25. And so far it's 12,270, year to date. And we've got it proposed at 15.
On 10,337 and 110,342 here, there's nothing under this year.
10,336.
Telecommunications tax now called average. Now, maybe they went away. I don't know, or they're
Okay,
going away.
but yeah, is it gone away? Is.
Telecommunications maybe, because there wasn't anything this year, but
Just gonna sell some.
That actually goes into your utilities franchise tax because it has to be broken out.
they were
And that-
somewhere
That
else.
particular year.
It's right above it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that moved into that.
So do we have to get to the ending on this today, or could we give y'all time to look and see without feeling stressed if we
Yeah.
have places you're
I
comfortable
mean,
with
if
doing that?
if you're giving us what you're seeing and
Define
ideas,
it.
let us, yeah.
Yeah.
Then let us go back to the drawing board.
And you won't be drawn and quartered if you miss it. I just think it's the right,
It's within reach.
what do you think,
What
Mr.
are
Mayor?
we doing? We're now looking for things to come out of expenditures to get this last little bit.
Well, we were
But then
just looking
figure
at
out
ideas.
how we get there. We told them what we'd like to do, figure out, can they comfortably get there? If you can't, come back and say, y'all are crazy, you're kicking the can.
Yes, fair enough. What you can do.
So we got work to do on BIS and general funds. All right, we can do that. So our next,
So the preference of the board is that we go, if we can go nothing, but you will accept 1 penny. Is that what I'm hearing?
they don't want 1 penny, they want
We
nothing.
want nothing.
They want nothing.
Right, so you're gonna have to cut some expenses and you understand that, but you want nothing. No impact.
Couldn't tell if that's feasible without making somebody cry.
Besides,
Besides-
That big BIS junk.
From the,
Junk.
But that won't change anything because that just means, am I right, Connie? If Chris Gibson's contract is incorrect in there for some reason, that just puts more in BIS. That doesn't
That's
impact what we're trying to do. Yeah.
However, I'm gonna remind you one more time, and I'm not being funny, but that 439,173 is gonna be right back here next year. And hopefully, if we get a new valve, that'll be great. We'll
Absorb
be
it.
where we need to be. But if we, for some reason, everything stays crazy like it is right now, we'll still be taking that out of the fund balance. And of course, this year we're taking the additional 90 because we want to give something for the water management, get started on that. So that's coming out of the fund balance. But I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be next year, the same thing, or could, but that 431 is gonna have to be covered somewhere, 431,790.
And that 431 is the expenses that BIS used to pay that they're no longer
Yes,
paying.
That's the general fund now.
But we will go back and see what we can do.
And at least back here again.
Maybe 12.
Okay.
That's
Is
a lot.
board's all comfortable with no increase or looking at as little as a half cent?
They're not comfortable, I'm not.
If you're gonna do a half a cent, I mean, let's pass a hat at a meeting. Yeah.
We're down to no percent, so we have to pass it.
Do you
at
want
the
to
end of the
increase
year.
taxes, John? How do you really feel about it?
You know, okay.
Let's see what we can do.
All right, so next budget workshop is on, May 12th at 2 p.m. So be here. With bells on, and hopefully that's our last budget workshop. We'll have everything buttoned up, hopefully, so that we can advertise. And then, at the May meeting, you guys will be setting the, public hearing date for the budget, for the June meeting.
Just under the line.
Yeah?
But again, even today, is it less stressful than last year? Is, okay.
Well, so far. Alex hadn't backed it up, so.
Well, there is a different town manager than you, so.
Budget has
say that.
anything to do with town manager.
It's always sitting on this side of the.
The chairs are much more comfortable.
It is less stressful in a manner, but it's also a lot of things to make sure you're putting it together correctly.
Well, I can't even imagine. And then you got the reval thrown on it that may not be a reval. that-
It was not fun trying to create two budgets. But
Connie's been working hard.
I got one question. Do we want to let any information about where we think we are about the public safety building go out Monday?
No.
Okay, just want to come in these fronts. Good with that.
Yeah, it'd be better to, that way you know this information.
Because we don't have the facts yet.
We don't
Yeah,
have to find
And so, yeah, anything that was sent, your minutes and stuff, none of us should share outside of here. The numbers in it, on the
Share.
We're not trying to be secretive, just don't want
but it's not
to
fun.
misinform anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good.
Do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn and apologize to Ms. Connie.
Thank you, Ms. Connie.
Thank you, Connie.
Thank you too, Christine.
All right.
Say hi.
Have a second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Adjourn.
Thank you.